Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Energy Storage News and PV Tech joint webinar with Anker on increasing the usable energy of home battery storage. I'm Will Norman, Senior Reporter at PV Tech, and I'm here with David Taylor, Solutions Expert at Anker Solix. This is going to be a half-hour webinar. It's going to feature a very short introduction from me, then the bit you came to see, the presentation from David, and then we're going to have an audience Q&A at the end. So some context for this webinar. Power outages are becoming more frequent and longer, particularly in the US, where grid infrastructure is aging and extreme weather events are becoming more commonplace. Hail, wildfires, and other remarkable weather events are putting strain on electricity supply and impacting homeowners and utilities alike. Furthermore, we've seen particularly volatile electricity prices in the last 2 years. This has driven the uptake of residential rooftop solar PV, but if the power goes out, so does your solar array. As a result, residential battery systems are becoming essential for domestic energy security and the rising trend of prosumers. In California, particularly, the NEM 3.0 legislation, which has been divisive, is designed to incentivize domestic energy storage and bolster grid resilience in the biggest residential solar market in the world. More broadly, the price of solar modules and battery units is falling consistently and is expected to keep doing so for some time. These dynamics are going to inform David's forthcoming presentation about Anker Solix's newest home battery offering. He'll speak for around 20 minutes, 25 minutes, give or take, after which we'll have a section for your audience questions. So please don't be shy. Put any questions you have for David in the chat box, which should be on the right of your screen, and we'll get to those after his presentation. I think that's all the housekeeping. So that's enough from me for now, and over to you, David, whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Thank you for the introduction, Will. So hello, everyone. My name is David Taylor. I'm here with the Anker Solix company, and I'm here to introduce our first step into the residential energy storage market with our flagship product, the Anker Solix X1. So a little bit about us before we get to the fun part. A lot of you guys probably know us as the Apple charging people. That's kind of how we got our start a little over 10 years ago. We are the same people. We are the same company. So over the last 12 years, we've kind of grown that brand to be the #1 charging brand in the world. So we're not new to the battery world, even though we're new to the residential storage world. Little fun fact about us, we're actually the only third-party brand that's allowed to be sold in Apple stores. That's how big our company's grown. So if you go on our Amazon website, you can see that we have a 99% customer satisfaction. We're very proud of that. Like I said, we're the #1 mobile charging brand in the world. And then over in Europe, we're the #1 balcony power storage in the world. So we've been kind of in the battery game for a while. We've grown from the small portable cell phone chargers and battery banks. We've grown bigger to the portable power stations. Those have been getting bigger and bigger. So logically, the next step was going to be making a bigger battery and getting into the residential storage market. So the way we accomplished that was 50% of our employees are R&D. We're constantly looking for that next big thing, how to improve what we have, how do we get the new technology perfected to make sure that we deliver the ultimate customer experience. So a couple of the key features that we've developed over the years is our GaN Prime technology and our Power IQ 4.0. That's how we've been able to make our charging products smaller, faster, more efficient. And through those breakthroughs, we've been able to develop our InfiniPower system and our modular management system that we've developed for the Anker X1, and we'll get into that in a little bit too as well. So the big challenge that we want to solve right now is the rise of power outages in the US. Will kind of alluded to that in the introduction. So there's a few things that lead to this. One is an aging grid. 2 is more severe weather. And 3 is there's just an electrical shortage. So on average, from 2013 to 2021, when people's power does go out, it's about double in length from what it used to be. And in that time frame, it's increasing by about 18% in frequency. So if you're on the West Coast, everyone's pretty familiar with the rolling blackouts that's happening with PG&E, SDG&E. And then a few years ago, everyone heard about the big winter storm here in Texas. So that was not fun. We learned the hard way that electricity is not just something for fun. It's not something that is going to just be able to keep your lights on and be able to watch TV. It's a big necessity. Having power for without a week in Texas during that winter storm was not fun. You couldn't shower for a week because the pipes were frozen. It was about 40 degrees Fahrenheit inside the house. And learned the hard way that if you have the means to keep the lights on and the electricity on, it's more of a necessity than it is a luxury. So the current options that are out there on the market right now, you have two main choices. You have the big batteries with the fixed capacity, and then you have modular batteries, but they don't operate with the optimizer in it, meaning they don't operate independently from one another. So if one battery module drains first, that's going to cut off the entire system, even if there's remaining power in the other modules. So the problem with this is there's potential energy loss. As the batteries age, they don't keep up with the efficiency and they don't charge as high as they used to. And that's a big problem, especially with the batteries with fixed capacity, because with the larger storage, it's going to lose the percentages faster. So while we were trying to design a challenger for this market, we did a lot of customer research. We spent about 2 years interviewing people that already had batteries. And when we started that project, we were expecting people to complain about things like, oh, I don't have enough storage, or I can't power the things that I want to. You know, we weren't expecting, the number one answer that we got was aesthetics. No matter what brand people had, every single person we interviewed complained about how it looked. They didn't like the color. They didn't like the material. They didn't like the messy wiring. It just was bulky. It didn't look nice, and people hated it, and we weren't ready for that. So we actually were able to reprioritize it and make sure that was a top priority for us, as well as function. So we made something that looks good and performs good as well. So with that, here's the first look at the Anker Solix X1. It's a modular battery system. It looks clean. It's a minimalist design. We call it our all-in-one design, and we'll kind of break that down. And it has a heads-up display that shows everything that's going on. It lights up. It's super nice. And the trade shows that we've gone to, we've been getting a lot of positive feedback. Pretty much every show, at least one person comes up to us and tells us, you've got the best-looking battery at the show. So that's a nice feather in our cap that we like. So let's get into the design, and we can kind of talk about why we decided to do what we did. So modular battery system that's inspired by the break of dawn. That's when things are the most hopeful. There's still positivity in the world. Things haven't gone completely wrong yet. So at the top, we have the interactive light strip. It's actually going to be color coded. So right here, you see it with powered in white. So when it's white, it's on grid. Everything's good. If power goes out and it goes off grid, it'll actually turn blue. So you can kind of know when and what's going on at all times. And it is motion detected. So if you have this out in your garage, it's not just going to be lighting up your garage if no one's in there wasting power. It will be turned off. And then if someone walks in, they can wave their hand in front of it and see the status of the system. And the all-in-one slim style. So what we mean by that is the power module up top, that actually has the inverter built in. So there's less equipment on the side of the house. That's good for the customer in terms of looks, and it's good for the installer in terms of the labor that they have to do. And then each battery module under that is independently operated thanks to our energy management system. And we'll go into a little bit more detail later. But basically what that means is if one battery drains faster than the other, it's not going to cut the entire system off. So think of it like string inverters, first micro inverters for solar panels. You know, if the string inverter goes down, the entire system goes down. If one micro inverter goes down, it's just one panel. So it's a similar concept to that. Okay. And another thing that we wanted to focus on with the looks of our design is make it as thin as possible. So if you do the math right there compared to the other brand, it's about 40% thinner than the average. The reason why that's kind of important, even though it doesn't seem like a big difference, is in a lot of places, if you install in a garage or say the side of a driveway, you have to put up safety barriers. You have to put up bollards, and that takes away a lot of space from homeowners. So we wanted to make this as thin as possible to limit the damage in those areas to maximize the garage space, the driveway area for the homeowner. So it's not all about looks. We also have to back it up with a good performance. So this is what I was kind of talking about earlier. You can see with the animation, the left one, when that middle battery drained first, the entire system stops right there, but you can still see there's remaining power. With ours, you can see all the batteries drained, even though they went at different times, they were still able to go independently from one another. So that's a great feature for us. It's a modular battery system. Each module is 5 kilowatt hours of storage, and the inverter that's built into the power module has a constant in and out of 6 kW with a peak at 12 for 10 seconds. So the scalability of this thing, you can actually wire up to 6 of these in parallel. So even though it is for residential AC coupled system, you can maximize your power output as 36 kW, and you can maximize the storage for 180 kilowatt hours. And then just to go back to this, if you have a homeowner that wants to power a big load like an air conditioner, 6 kW may or may not cut it. So with a lot of other competitors, what you have to do, especially for the big fixed capacity batteries, you have to buy a whole nother battery system to run that in parallel. And that's pretty expensive. And at my previous job at a solar installer, you see a lot of deals fall through because that $12,000, $15,000 investment, all of a sudden that grows by like another $8,000. And a lot of people don't want to make that big of an investment. With this system, if you have something like this, all you have to do is buy another power module. It's a lot less expensive, and you can double your output, and now you can handle those big loads like an air conditioner or something like that. Another key feature for us is the operation that we can handle in extreme weather. So with the chart, the white line is the competition, the blue line is us. So you can see that once you hit that freezing mark, a lot of other people, they just shut down and you can't charge the batteries anymore. That's not the case with us. We have a heating technology inside the battery. It uses a small trickle charge to keep it operational under all the way down to -4 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you can see on the opposite side of the spectrum, once you start getting into those higher temperature ranges, the closer you get to 131 degrees Fahrenheit, the less efficiency the other guys have. It starts derating. It's less and less power. We have technical heat sinks on the back sides, and we have patented airflows and fans on the sides. We make sure that they're well ventilated, well cooled. And then we also have a special paint as well. So it's designed to reflect heat. And so if you install it outside in the elements, it's a little bit less worry for you guys. So the big takeaway on this slide that I want to go through is the third-party compatibility. So obviously these were designed to hook up to existing solar systems, but we knew we were late to the party, and if we wanted to stay invited to this party, we had to mingle well with the other guests. What I mean by that is there's already established players in this market. Enphase is big with the microinverters, Solar Edge, Hoy Miles. I could go on and on and on. The point is that we are completely compatible with those brands, and we play well with them. So if you already have an existing solar system or you want to build a new solar system, you don't have to worry about what microinverter or string inverter that you use. We are completely compatible with these third-party products, and we will be able to have 100% functionality with them. So a little bit more ease of mind or ease of use for the customer. So when the power does go out, we have a 20 millisecond switchover. So what that means is you might see the lights flicker. Your TV is still going to go on. Your internet's still going to be connected. If you're working on your computer, you don't have to worry about the computer shutting down and losing all your work. So that's a great feature for the homeowner. So talked a little bit about what sets us apart. Let's talk about the intelligence of this. So of course, we're going to have our own app, and it's going to be a nice little control center for the customer. They're going to have all the information of the system in the palm of their hand. So you can manage all your data. You can summarize the history of it. You can see the past performance versus today. There's several different graphs that show the health, the performance and the efficiency of your system. You can see how much money you've been saving, the impact that you're having on the environment with the carbon emissions, how many trees you've been saving, things like that. In California, this is going to be huge for you guys because we will have a NEM 3.0 mode. So it's similar to our usual time of use mode, but we will have AI integration in it. And what that's going to do is monitor the rate of which you can sell back. So it'll know when electricity prices are the highest, and it's going to know when electricity prices are the lowest. So it'll constantly be monitoring that, helping the homeowner make the right decision of when they want to sell back. And with our lab simulations compared to a 5 kilowatt inverter to our 6 kilowatt inverter, you're going to be selling power back 20% faster. That means you're going to be making money a lot faster. You're going to be paying back that loan a lot faster. So it's faster savings for the homeowners. It makes more financial sense, and they can be debt free a lot quicker than they will with the competitor. And then with the Storm Guard mode, this is for when the National Weather Service issues a severe weather alert. Homeowner will get a notification that an alert has been issued. Their battery will automatically start charging from the grid, and we can charge 20% faster than the competition. So if you're at 0% with your batteries, which hopefully you never are, you charging from the grid, you can go from 0 to 80% in 1.6 hours. So make sure that you're able to keep the lights on and keep the power on just in case things go south. And if you don't want to do that, you will be able to opt out of that. So National Weather Service, they're not always 100% accurate. If you get that warning and you look outside your window and it's still sunny skies, there's no severe weather looming, all you got to do is press the cancel button. That way you're not charging off the grid and charging up any credits that you don't want. And then a little peek into the future. We will be releasing our EV charger this year. Right now, our goal is an October release. So we've got a few other things in the pipeline as far as smart homes go, but we will be releasing an EV charger this year. So you're one step closer to having an entire home ecosystem powered by Anker. So compatible with backup generators. This is a cool feature that we have. In the backup controller that will be sold with every single system that gets installed, there's 4 landing spots for breakers. There's 1 for PV. There's going to be 2 for the inverters. And there's also going to be 1 for the generator. And the good thing about that is in the app, you're actually going to be able to set priority mode. So if the lights go out, power cut off, you can say, hey, I want the generator to go on first because that way I can save all my power to sell back to the grid at a later time. Or if you want, you can set it to say, hey, drain the batteries first, and then you can save that generator as a last resort. And this feature is going to be available at launch, but we will have an additional feature a few months. Right now, our goal is summer to be able to actually charge the batteries via a generator. So again, that part won't be ready at launch, but it will be shortly after. So that's just a cool little feature to keep your eyes on. So safety is a big issue for us. There's been a lot of scares recently with lithium-ion batteries. I understand a lot of people are uncomfortable having this in their house due to all the horror stories they've seen on the news. But hopefully this can kind of help squash those fears. So we do make our batteries with LFP, lithium iron phosphate. It's a more stable, more resistant battery type. So as far as safety goes, that's about as safe as you can get with battery chemistry. And it does, on the performance side, make them last longer. So that's nice as well. We do have an auto isolate feature. So you can see in this example, for some reason, that middle battery has failed. So right now with our auto isolate feature, it is automatically detected, cut off from the system, and then the rest of the system keeps working normally. But if you hold like a multimeter or a voltmeter up to the terminals, you would read zeros across the board. There's nothing going on with that battery. You don't have to worry about it. So that kind of ties into that micro inverter / string inverter comparison I made at the beginning of the presentation. So that one module is out of commission. You can at least still run with the clipped wing with the other two until that battery is replaced. You're not going to be completely without backup power until that's fixed. So here's a little animation kind of showing those terminals. So that's where you could kind of hold the multimeter up to get that 0 volt reading. You can see that there's absolutely nothing going through that battery, completely isolated from the system. So this is a fully outdoor rated system. It is designed to handle all the elements: snow, sleet, rain. It's NEMA 4 rated. It's IP67 MC4 connections, and we have a 10-year warranty. So it's built to design with outside use in mind. It does not have to be strictly an indoor type system. So even though it looks nice, it is very, very sturdy, very hardy, very durable. A little bit more about the safety is our saline resistance is over double what most other brands are. We have a higher anti-corrosion rating, and we rated with over 20 plus years of no visible aging in the natural environment. So it is made of die-cast aluminum, and it has that powder-coated surface. So that's the special paint I was talking about earlier. It's got the metal flakes inside the silver paint, so it reflects heat if it's outside, keeps it cooler longer. It's got galvanized steel components and zinc nickel plating on the fasteners to make sure that those connections stay connected and the batteries don't become loose and fall over. So quick summary of everything that we've gone over. Kind of see the minimalist design, the all-in-one system with the inverter built into the power module. Cool little feature that wasn't touched on is when you are off-grid, that inverter is actually going to have a 10% higher output. So if you have one inverter, instead of 6 kW output, you're actually going to have 6.6 kW. If you have two, you'll have, instead of that 12, you'll be at 13.2. So you can operate faster, more efficiently the times you need it the most. Temperature range, you got 100% power all the way from -4 degrees Fahrenheit to 131. So you're going to be able to operate in extreme temperatures better than you will with the competitors. You're going to have a fast switch over. You're going to be safe with the LFP batteries and the automatic isolation. You're going to have at least 2,350 kilowatt hours of more power thanks to the independent operation of the batteries. And you can mix batteries with 0% energy loss. So lots of cool features, lots of cool things that separate us from the competition, and hopefully makes that decision for the homeowner easier on who to decide for their home backup needs. So how is the experience with these batteries? So one of the key challenges for us with Anker in this product is everything that we've done until now has been a direct-to-consumer product. There's a big, big difference between a phone charger and a big battery like this, obviously. So not only are we trying to drum up interest with the homeowner, but we also have to find interest with the installers and distributors as well, since they will be the ones handling the installation of this system. It's not going to be a DIY type thing. It will be done through solar installers mainly. So we had to, the key selling points for the installers and the distributors is it's going to be easier for them to sell. Since it's a modular system, they can tailor make this to whatever the customer needs. And it's expandable in the future. So let's say the homeowner is talking with the sales rep of the installer and they say, you know, I really need 20 kilowatt hours of backup, but I can only afford 10. That's fine. Buy the 10 now. Whenever you're comfortable, come back and buy those other 2 battery modules later. Because like we showed earlier, with the independent operation of each module, you don't have to worry about power loss. Let's say they're not able to get those batteries like 10 years in the future. Well, those batteries are 10 years old by then. Those obviously aren't going to be charging up to 100% efficiency. So when the older batteries are fully drained and there's still juice left in the new batteries, they can still keep going. So the customer is not going to be limited by the time factor that they buy these batteries at. So I really like this slide because this is going to be the little bit about the backup controller. We haven't had a chance to talk about this yet. So on the left side, there's those 4 breakers that I was talking about. You have this breaker for the PV, you have the breaker for the generator, and you actually have 2 landing spots for the inverters. So if you have a system where you just have 1 power module, you only got to worry about 1. If you want to run 2 systems in parallel and double that power output, you don't need to worry about a junction box anymore. So you have a breaker landing spot for each one. It's less equipment that you got to install. As a homeowner, you're going to have less equipment on the side of the house to take up space and look ugly, and it keeps things nice for the homeowner. So You will be able to retrofit this on the old systems. You will be able to do a new build. You can do a whole home backup. You can do partial home backup. This is a very, very adaptable system. It can handle pretty much any scenario that's thrown at it. And then as far as the breaker sizing goes, on those 4 breakers that you can land spot, the highest breaker that these are tested for is 80 amps continuous, 100 amps peak. So they're pretty large breaker sizes. You can fit pretty much anything you need there in the residential world. And then as far as installation goes, these things are very, very easy. So it can be wall mounted or floor mounted, whatever the customer needs. Some areas you can't do a floor mount. You have to have it so many feet off the ground. So we've got you covered for whatever situation you need. Once you get the base plate installed, these things basically turn into Legos for grown-ups. They're super easy to install. They're pretty light. The power module itself is 44 pounds. The batteries are 112 pounds. I've been on a couple installs myself, and I've been watching electricians do these things. And one of them was installing the backup controller, and he was literally holding it up with one hand while he was doing the wiring and the screwing on the other hand. And he legit looked at me and goes, "This is the lightest thing I've ever installed." So that was a pretty cool moment for us. We were really proud to hear that. And we've been getting a lot of positive feedback from installers, mainly because you don't need any special equipment. Because these things are so light, they actually have handles built into the sides as well. You don't need a lot of special equipment. With the bigger, bulkier batteries, you have to have forklifts, you have to have dollies. This can all be done by hand. It's super easy. So another big perk for installers is our commissioning app. So it's very, very fast, very, very easy. With a lot of competition out there, this can be a big pain point for installers because it takes several hours. And if it's taking several hours, you literally just have electricians sitting there doing nothing. I don't mean that in a bad way. That's just how it is. So if you just have guys sitting there for hours on end, that's more money that the installer has to pay. That's less jobs you can be running in the future. It just dwindles your efficiency. So right now, that every install that I've been a part of, the entire commissioning process takes 15 minutes. It's super quick, super easy. It's 4 steps. All you got to do is hold the phone up to the controller. It connects via Bluetooth. It will automatically detect everything. You click next. It downloads the software update. It'll run a self-diagnostic. And then right then and there, once everything's done, they just enter in the homeowner email. It hands the system off to them. So there's going to be 2 separate apps. One is the Anker Solix Professional. That's what the installer will be using. And then the homeowner has just the regular Anker app. Both are available in the App Store and the Google Play Store. So it's not anything special that you need to have permission for. It's going to be super easy and very available to everyone for ease of use. And another cool feature about this is the CTs. So a lot of installers have problems installing the CTs. They'll actually install them upside down. With our CTs, they're actually self-correcting. So just in case they don't see which way to point that arrow, if they do it upside down, whenever it's running that self-diagnostic test, it'll automatically detect if a CT has been installed upside down. And instead of having to go back into the controller, rewire everything, they literally just press a button. The app recognizes it, flips it upside down inside the app, and everything keeps on going smoothly. In addition to our app for installers, we will also have our Onm platform. So this is going to be your command center. This is going to be where you can see every single project you've ever touched, every single project you've ever sold. You're going to be able to see the location of the project. You're going to be able to see the health of the project. If something goes wrong, it'll tell you what went wrong. And you're going to be able to basically just see the total health of every system that you've ever touched. So it kind of helps you keep you ahead of the game. That way there's no nasty surprises. If someone's calling you with something that's going wrong, you'll know ahead of time. So you'll be the first to know. You won't be caught off guard by angry customers anymore. So this is the last slide. I'm going to keep it here, but we would love to have you as an install partner. If you're an installer, if you're an end user and a homeowner, and this is interests you as well, we'd love to talk more. We've got the QR codes, the emails, and the phone numbers right there. If you want to talk to me personally, I have no problem. Email me. I can shoot you over whatever information you need. My email is david.taylor at anchor.com. So thank you guys for coming out today, listening to me talk for a little bit. It was my pleasure to kind of show off our new system with you guys, and hopefully we can hear more from you guys in the future.
Thanks very much, David. That was great. I think we've got time for a couple of questions. We've had loads come in.
Beautiful.
I'm going to combine a couple, one from Danny Clayton and one from Paul Young. Will the product be sold in the UK and Canada? And if so, when?
So yes, it will, but not right now. UK, we do have future plans for. I don't know when that's going to be coming out. Keep an eye on anchor.com for more information. But this was actually designed with the UK in mind as well. So it will be making it over there sooner or later. And then as far as Canada, I want to say, yes, it's available in Canada now. But if not, it will be very, very soon.
Okay. And the same, we've had another question come in, the same question for the EU. Watch this space.
I'm sorry, you cut off at the very end there.
And the same question for the EU.
Okay, is it available in the EU? Not yet, but it will be.
Okay.
We've been beta testing in Germany, so it is on track.
Okay, great. We had a question from Michael Green. What's the typical lifespan of the batteries?
Typical lifespan. So as far as warranty goes, it's 10 years. We're trying to get that extended through finance partners to extend that warranty. The aggregate throughput is how we measure it, but it breaks down, if you do the math, about 6,000 cycles. If that's what you're asking about by lifespan, that's the answer to that. If you're asking about lifespan as in how long do these last in a power outage, I don't want to give you a concrete number because it's going to vary from household to household. It just depends on what you're running and how big the home loads are. Okay.
One from Brad Price regarding the app. Can you export your data from the app or from the Anker cloud?
Yeah. So like if you want to export it to like an Excel sheet or something like that, yeah, you can do that.
Okay, great. We've probably got time for one or two more, I guess. What about if it's installed on the exterior of the building? This is from Kenneth. Can it be secured from high winds in hurricane zones?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is fully outdoor rated. The way it'll work is if it's outside, it's most likely going to be a wall mount. So you'll have the base plate sitting on these L brackets that are bolted into the wall securely. And then behind each module, whether it be the battery module or the power module, it'll have a wall bracket that it hooks into and holds it nice and secure. So it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Okay. And then one from Jay Troger. I think you maybe covered this, but does the system work without solar PV? And can you install it in your house so that it charges from the grid?
Yes, so it does work without PV. As far as in the house, like actually in your living room, no, this is not going to be allowed in your living room. It's going to have to be either in the garage or outside the garage. Basically, check with your AHJ. And by AHJ, I mean your governing city or county. In most areas, it can't be on a wall that's shared with a habitable living space. So like if you have it installed in your garage, you can't have it on the wall that leads into your house. But it is indoor rated. It is outdoor rated.
Okay, great. And then I'm going to just take one more.
Sure.
That's a good one. Just come in from Michael Green. Does the app allow you to track usage, for example, with appliances, EV charging, etc.?
Yep. And one other feature about the app that I didn't mention, with a lot of other apps, and it will most likely happen with ours as well, when the power cuts off, the system stops uploading to the cloud as often. So sometimes your app isn't going to be the most great place to see real-time usage in an outage. That's where the display screen on the power module comes into play. So with a lot of other competitors, you're left into the dark about how much battery you have left, how fast you're using that battery. So it's hard to make a decision of, do I need to start cutting loads and try to conserve power if this is going to be an extended outage or not? Let's say this is in your garage. All you got to do is walk into your garage, step in front of your batteries. You can see how much battery you have left, how fast you're discharging at, and what your total home loads are in real time.
Okay, great. I think that's about what we've got time for. As David mentioned, I think you're happy for people to email you.
Yep.
And the webinar will ultimately become available on the PV Tech and Energy Storage News sites. So thanks very much. Thanks for attending. Thanks for all the questions. It's been really great. Thanks for that, David. And yeah, look forward to seeing everyone at the next one.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming out. And again, if any questions or anything you need to know, david.taylor at anker.com. Thank you, guys.